My boyfriend asked me not to wear white to a wedding, but it's our wedding.
Well,
Have you ever seen I Love a Mama's Boy? Well, that's my life, basically. I, 27 female, have been with my fiance, John, 28 female.
what's the deal?
Since high school.
Two
We
for two.
dated and broke up because his mother, Debbie, 53 female, convinced him we were too young to be in love. We broke up and went to college. During my sophomore year, we started talking on socials again. He apologized and said he missed me. We got back together. Cue the waterworks. Debbie literally cried the first time she saw we were back together and told John that I have done witchcraft on him. I've always respected Debbie out of respect for my mother and upbringing. I was not raised to go back and forth with my elders, but she definitely abuses that. Since John and I decided to get back together, she has tried to hook him up with women from her church, her job, and even asked her friends for their daughters to give it a shot. John denies all of them, and Debbie says that I'm controlling. John has told her to stop, but not in a way I feel she gets the point. Anyway, 3 months ago, John proposed. Deb didn't come to the engagement party. Cool. She didn't come to the family dinner we had so both sides could meet. Cool. John's dad came and apologized for his ex's behavior. He left her when John graduated high school. I told him, don't worry about it. The problems really began when John decided to confront his mother about how she's behaving towards our whole engagement. This turned on the light bulb in his brain, and he's always tried to ignore it and tell me to ignore her. She gave him a sob story about how she got pregnant with him before marriage and never really got to have a wedding, and this is triggering her. She had a shotgun wedding at the courthouse. He asked her what she needed to feel comfortable, and she responded that if she wore white and I wore soft pink or lavender, she would feel comfortable. My fiance, for some reason, thought this was a fair compromise. He also said, not asked, that his mom could walk me down the aisle so she can get her moment in her dress. I told her absolutely not, and we got into an argument about it. I told him that it's insane that he would argue with me to defend his mom's honor, but wouldn't do the same the other way around. He accused me of being petty and selfish. It was bad. We both have agreed to cool off, but by how heated it got, I could tell we both almost agreed to call it off. Now we're in a weird space, and I love John, but now see how much he let her impact our life. I just imagine her sitting at home with this evil grin, knowing she's ruining my relationship with John, and he's just putty in her hands. I think I should just call off the wedding. Am I the a-hole, or is it just a color? And there's comments by OP, and there's an update. This is wackadoodle. OP says, I wish this was fiction. My life feels like a joke right now. I'm embarrassed to even tell my best friend because it sounds crazy, and I guess I thought posting it here would get a different type of response. But everyone is just telling me to run, so I think it's time to tell my friends and family what's going on. Everyone is screaming, leave him, and I would be too if I was just a third-party observer reading this. So I don't fault them, but we live together and have been planning a wedding. It hurts. I think this is my last straw, though, so I appreciate your advice. I'm going to get father-in-law to gather everyone on his side and talk about this. If that doesn't work, the wedding is off. My dad hasn't paid any deposits yet since it's still early on in the engagement, so I've also decided to show John this thread. I'll post an update after I meet with him later. Opie says, I honestly love him. It feels like we're soulmates. But everyone is right. I don't know if I can put up with Debbie forever. I thought I could if he was going to have my back, but he has lost all his marbles, apparently. I honestly think that's what it is. He really believes she'll let up. She hasn't the whole time we've been together, so I'm adding that to one of my talking points later. The second part that is also going to be a talking point is, does he think his mom would not look insane and that wouldn't make people talk? There is an update. Hey everyone, not sure if this is the update everyone wanted, but this is what happened since my last post. This is one day later. I laid out a couple of talking points that I couldn't articulate over the rage. I met it with John after work at home. I was at the gym letting off steam. We spoke on everything and made plans to speak to his mother. John came home remorseful. He told me he was anxious about it and brought it up to a coworker/friend about how I don't want compromise. Apparently his friend, God bless his soul, went off on him about him being cringy.
Let's go.
This angered me. So when I say it's a problem, but another man tells you, and now you see the other side, I brought up my talking points. Him being easily being manipulated. This was also proved when I said he would listen to whatever another man said before his partner, even though his friend agreed with me. It hurt that he didn't listen to me. His mom going out of her way to break us up with this silly request. He's way more open to this theory now, knowing how cringe he looks, even telling the situation to someone else. I compared it to a father removing a bride's wedding garter. And then he got the point.
Yikes.
Him agreeing to his mom's crazy request before even talking to me. He claimed he didn't, that he told her he'll see how I feel about it and just brought it up to me. I asked why did he not see that his mother walking down the aisle on his wedding day was extremely creepy. He says it's just a dress in his eyes. He just didn't want his mom to miss the wedding. I told him there will be no wedding if he doesn't straighten on up. He said he misunderstood. Me showing him how blatantly obvious it was she hates me. Shouldn't even ask to wear white alongside me, which is still weird, but that I don't wear white at all, as if I'm some impure or... Thanks, Reddit, because I wasn't even thinking of that one. He said he didn't see it that way. He just knew she hasn't been showing up because she said seeing me in white hurts her. So I said, do you not hear your own mom saying she wants to be the bride herself? That she can't stand it being me. It finally looked like a ding went off in his head. Me asking him what role she would play in our wedding, childbirth, Mother's Day, and everything to come. Would I always come second place? He assured me I wouldn't, and he realizes how bad he effed up. He was just trying to keep the peace. I asked, by always making her happy and making me miserable, I refused to live my life that way. He agreed and said he was sorry and that he wouldn't want me to be miserable. We have no children yet, but we created a plan in how to deal with any big milestone. She won't be there for anything unless I'm comfortable with it.
Hey.
And I won't be unless she does a 180.
Hey.
I asked, what did his mom say to change his mind? And you guessed it, she cried. She cried about her baby getting taken away from her, how she never got her wedding, how his dad left her, and she was alone and had no one else. That she felt sick and just wanted to experience a real wedding before she died. She's perfectly healthy unless there's something she hasn't told us.
Dude.
I just told him if that was enough to manipulate him, what's to say he won't turn on me again? He said this friend and dad talked sense to him about how he was going to lose me. I told him today that was the last straw for me. He had to do 4 things to keep me engaged to him.
Ooh.
If he even cared to. So
Here
we got some stipulations. We got some barriers.
It's about to get really real.
OP requests. Go low contact with his mom and do not let her make any decisions on our wedding, which will be postponed another year to see if he actually sticks to his word. Good idea to postpone the wedding about something like this.
Agreed.
Smart. 2, he has to go to counseling individually and couples counseling. 3, he has to speak to his mom with me present about her behavior towards me because every time he goes by himself, he comes back with a reason why he left it alone. Next, he must create strong boundaries and learn to uphold them. He agreed. But then came the bad part. I showed him the post.
Hey?
Felt so bad as he read everyone rip him to shreds in the comments. I could see how uncomfortable he was as he read how much of a mama's boy he was and other things about his mom. He was hurt that I agreed that I should leave him in some comments. He read for a few minutes until he saw someone call him a spineless see you next Tuesday and then gave my phone back. He said it was really harsh, but I had shown him how crazy the situation sounded, even if it was just to keep the peace on a surface level. Him reading the post was the icing on the cake. He said he saw everyone telling me to leave and his heart physically started hurting, knowing that he deserved it. We then called his dad, who I'm no longer calling future father-in-law because I will call this wedding off tomorrow if he doesn't have my back when we speak to his mom. John's dad, Dan, who I'll name since he's a big part of this update. Dan also read John the riot act again. The riot act, what's that? He was relieved John decided to get his act together. We agreed to go to Deb's house tomorrow with Dan and John's aunt. My dad is tagging along. This is a full family affair. So John has said he will tell his mother that she can't under any circumstances make our wedding about her. He also said if she does cry or try to guilt trip him, he will tell her he's going no contact. I feel terrible, as getting a man to stop talking to his mother isn't something I ever thought I wanted. I doubt Debbie will come around, especially not tomorrow with all of us against her. I don't know if John will backtrack as soon as he gets there. I have explained if he doesn't grow a spine, I'm leaving. He either can marry me or marry his mom, but that's my ultimatum.
Oh, man.
He said he chooses me. We'll see, I guess. This all should make me happy, but I still feel icky. I'll update tomorrow after we all talk to Debbie. We got comments from OP, so I won't bash him anymore since we've spoken, but I will say I'm not speaking tomorrow, and I've asked everyone else to just come for support. He has to speak, and if it's not assertive or it's half bootied, I'm out of here. Thank you. I feel really bad about this, but this is my first time having to put my foot down, and I think even he's shocked seeing it. I usually just let her talk and get her way because she's his mom. Yes, I didn't think that it was weird. My cousin told me she has a throwaway to vent about her mom. She gave me the login to be able to do the same without family watching, but this is the last comment I'm going to make about this. I wasn't going to make a new email and account, and I also didn't know this was going to blow up. And as you can see from me responding, I'm not a bot. And we got an update 2 days later. My boyfriend asked me not to wear white to a wedding, but it's our wedding.
Well.
Hey everyone, I'm back with the last update. Will it be the last? We'll see. This is a bit long, so buckle up. Some people reached out to disrespect me. I honestly don't care if you don't believe my story or find me annoying, but messaging me, calling me names, being disrespectful, and or saying I shouldn't wear white to my own wedding is classless. I won't respond, and I genuinely hope you all get the help you need for whatever trauma makes you that much of an angry person. To all people who have reached out with positive vibes and advice, thank you so much, you cutie patooties. Anyway, John and I met up after work, and we headed to pick up Dan. John's aunt couldn't make it. My dad was meeting us there, and I had really bad anxiety. I told Dan and Dad that they shouldn't give us a few hours before knocking so she doesn't feel ambushed, and they agreed. Here's the part everyone is waiting for. We get to Debbie's, and my heart feels like I'm going up the world's tallest roller coaster slowly. John is quiet. We get there, and he gives her a firm but respectful, "Hey, Mom." We sit down, and John tells her we came to talk to her. She asks, "What's wrong?" John got right into it. He bluntly said to her that her actions towards me for years have been petty. Her not showing up for any of her wedding events was unacceptable to him. He flat out asked her, why does she have a problem with me? I genuinely thought he was going to start with the dress situation. He went for the root of it all. Debbie acted like she had no idea what he was talking about. She has actively tried to get him to cheat/leave me for other women, but in that moment was shocked and doesn't know where this was coming from. She said she has no problems with me and loves me like a daughter. She looked at me like she expected me to talk. But like I said to you all, I wanted to see what John had to say. He asked her to be honest and name all the times he's recalled that she insulted me to my face and behind my back. He mentioned she had also told him he could do better every time I'm not around. This was news to me, but am I shocked? No.
Oh.
Deb was livid. She genuinely couldn't believe he outed her like that. She starts going off on him, calling him disrespectful and saying he was disrespecting his own mother for an outsider. She kept saying, I know she made you do this. I know she's the one making you disrespect me like this. John was trying to reason with her and get her to calm down.
Come on, Mama.
I text Dan, and my dad comes in. Once they were inside, Deb became a different person. She was startled as she wasn't expecting them, and then all the things she was saying went out the window. She turned to Dan and my dad and said, John walked in and just started yelling at her because of me. My dad looked at me, and I shook my head. No. Once Dan and Dad got in, everything was calmer for a little while. She went back to denying she didn't like me. They all told her it was obvious that the dress request was shameful of her. She immediately replied, it's shameful that I won't let her son spend time with her. John said, that's not true. At this point, I'm burning inside. I wanted to correct all of her inaccuracies, but I stood quiet. John asked her, what's the real issue with OP? Deb starts saying how she knew I was going to be an issue since we were in high school. She said that once John got with me, his grades started dropping, which wasn't true. That he stopped making time for family, also not true. That he once didn't show up to celebrate Mother's Day with her a few times because of my birthday. My birthday is in April. Mother's Day is in May. We got back together. He forgot about her completely because I made him abandon her. Goes to her house a minimum of 3 times a week.
Dude.
She said the fact that we had the engagement party without checking in how she felt about it was wrong, and all the evidence she needed to see what kind of woman I am. My dad pointed out that she didn't pay for the engagement dinner to have any input on it.
Yeah.
Dan asked her, what was she thinking asking to wear white at her wedding? Why is she so hungry for attention?
Ooh.
Her face got red and she went off. She told Dan maybe if he would have properly married her and gave her the real wedding, she wouldn't feel left out. Dan straight up called BS and said that she didn't want to have a real wedding, even though he tried to convince her.
Ooh.
The reason being that her mother told her pregnant brides are tacky. She started crying. I honestly felt bad for Debbie here. Mothers, be nice to your daughters or you'll create Debbie's. My dad got everyone to calm down. John finally spoke again and told his mom that he can't leave her for dirt. She's the only mother he'll ever had. Mothers are forever. Wives are not. I'm not even his wife yet, and I'm already tearing apart the family. He kept going. He told her that we are going to get married. She can't respect me or stop crossing boundaries. She'll get cut off completely. That his visits are dropping down to one every 2 weeks and that she needs to call less. She started going, She knew it. I'm doing something to him. What did I do to her son? I'm a manipulator and a problem. She told my dad. He raised a demon.
Oh my God.
My dad shot back at her to watch her mouth. John kept shouting, Mom, stop! Mom, stop! But she kept screaming, and then she started hyperventilating. Whoever called it, you might be able to see the future. She was gripping John's arms, saying she can't breathe. This was when I said to myself, oh no, he's about to flip-flop. He looked at me, and I know he knew what I was thinking. John got a cup of water, then asked his dad if he could make sure his mom was okay, and asked my dad to take Dan home. Dan and Dad agreed, and his mom started crying louder. She literally screamed, I can't breathe, as we walked out so he could hear her. I felt effing terrible, and I finally spoke. I told John I'm sorry, and I understand if he felt bad. He said he knew he was faking it, but his instincts wanted to run over and make sure she was okay. I asked, are you? And he said no, but he looked really sad about it. My dad walked out behind us. My dad has never seen this side of Deb, and neither have I. She's always been catty or shady towards me, but this was insane. It is.
Exposed.
My dad straight up told John that his mom needed help with her mental health. John said he's going to talk to his aunt about getting her help. We went home, and John cried. He said he cried because he watched his mom villainize him and tell others that he just walked in and verbally abused her. He said it reminded him of the times he would fight with his dad because his mom would say Dan would just come from work and yell at her for no reason. I guess it was deja vu for him. He was silent after she said that, so I do believe it struck a nerve with him. He decided to go no contact. I did ask if he was okay with me posting this part, and he said yes. Before we went to Deb's house, I called a couple of counselors in our area to check for availability, and our first couples therapy session is next month. It's a little while away. He called his provider today to check for a therapist within his insurance and got an appointment for himself for the 23rd. The ball is rolling, and John seems like he's on the same page as me. I know this is curling him, though. Dan called us and let us know that he got Deb to calm down. He said he spoke to her as best as he could about her harming her own relationship with John, but she didn't want to hear it. But you know what you always want to hear is us going live on Facebook and YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Get on in here.
There's another relevant update. Thank you, Reddit. I really didn't expect this to blow up like this. The advice and well wishes I got from this was so overwhelming in a great way. While I should be happy, something about it all just makes me feel down. I hope that Debbie gets better and we can one day have her in our lives. Something about that comment about her mother made me hurt a little for Debbie. Hopefully one day I'll get to hear her stories. Now, I'm going back to my regular life, and hopefully I won't ever have a dramatic update for you guys again. And that is where that story at.
A friend's bridesmaid can't stop commenting about my body. We left dinner early.
I'm out of here.
Names are fake. It all started when my boyfriend's childhood friend asked my boyfriend to be a groomsman. This friend also invited my boyfriend to his joint bachelor/bachelorette party. The couple was even kind enough to invite me too, even though I wasn't in the bridal party. It was going to be a week-long beach trip with bridesmaids and groomsmen. So now I'm not shy by any means, but it can be hard to meet a new group of people for the first time on a vacation where they all know each other. So about a month before the trip, I made my own bikini that was white with lace and pink bows. I was so excited to wear it and knew it would give me the confidence I needed to be scantily clad around girls I didn't know. On day one, my boyfriend and I get in late and go right to bed. The group left early the next morning for the beach, and we were about 30 minutes behind them. I am a makeup girly, always have been, so I get made up within reason to go to the beach. I popped on my new homemade bikini and was looking good, baby. Woo! Skin was glowing, body was bodying, so on. When we arrived, I saw that there were only 3 girls, the bride and her 2 friends. By the way, I only met the bride a couple of times and knew her to be a shy but very sweet girl. I say hi, then set my stuff down to take off my cover-up. When I remove my top, I hear, "Wow, look at her," from across the circle. Then I hear a different voice say, "So petite." I'm 5'6" with a ginormous booty. No, I don't work out. I just eat a lot of French fries. So I assume the girls are talking about someone else nearby. I then hear the first voice say, "I wish I had her body," to which the second voice responds, "I don't. I'm glad God blessed me with these big old bazongas." I know what you're thinking. There's no way someone said that IRL, but they did. Oh, they did say big old bazongas.
Big old bazongas.
That's a quote. Of course, I giggled to myself because I have the humor of a 14-year-old boy. I go to sit down and immediately bond with all 3 girls over a TV show. But not even 5 minutes into the conversation, the big bazonga bridesmaid, Kaylee, interrupts us and asks what cup size I am. I choke at a laugh and say, I'm a 34B. Everyone's looking at me. I'm literally sitting in the center of 8 dudes I don't know, turning beet red because I have just met all of these people mere moments ago. Kaylee, who's 29 by the way, says, I don't even think I can conceptualize what a B cup really looks like. And I'm thinking, what the heck does that mean? But I say, well, you don't have to. Here they are. And gesture to what I'm working with. Then her sister chimes in and says, "Oh, but it must be so nice. No back pain." I can tell she's trying to make the conversation less weird, so I say, "Yeah, that's true, but I wouldn't mind filling out a dress every once in a while." The group laughs. I manage to make friendly, polite, small talk with them throughout the day until Kaylee turns to me again and asks what I do for a living. I tell her I'm a writer. I work as a ghostwriter of sorts on nonfiction speeches, articles, stories professionally. She says, "Okay, but do you read, though? How else does one become a writer, I wonder?" But I kept it cool and say, "Of course, I love to read. You?" She says that she's read 70 books already that year. I'm impressed. I mostly read very stuffy literature, so it takes me a while to get through a book. I'd probably read about 10 books so far that year and told her as much. Boy, did she love that. This is where it gets juicy. The whole trip, one of the groomsmen was flirting with me relentlessly. My boyfriend was getting jealous, and he's not the jealous type. This groomsman was always trying to get me alone, ordering for me at restaurants, acting like he was my partner, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Kaylee was flirting with my boyfriend. Yes, my boyfriend's handsome, but he hates attention and refused to engage in her flirty behavior. It was annoying, but I was not intimidated by Kaylee in the slightest. So I let it go. On the last day, we decided to go to dinner. Once we were already ready, we split up and took different cars. I'm a very type B person and couldn't decide if I needed a bra or no bra for my dress. So I brought one with me in case. I was not trying to have any wardrobe malfunctions in front of my man's friends. On the ride over to the restaurant, I'm sitting in the car talking to someone in the back seat when I notice my right boob is hanging out of my dress. I gasp and apologize.
I'm sorry.
But the person in the back says he didn't notice. My boyfriend, however, is grinning ear to ear, having gotten a sneak peek. Luckily, I had a bra in my bag because I'm a genius. I discreetly slip the bra on underneath my dress, and we all go out to meet the others. At the bar, the girls are all talking about the fun time they had at the beach. Then Kaylee says, "Claire, I have to know, what makeup do you use? You swim and it doesn't even come off." I told her the brand, unnamed, if you're wondering. She says, "But like, you seem to wear so much foundation. I'm just surprised it looks so good after getting wet." Again, she's saying this in front of like 15 people who are all listening because she's loud AF. I want to ask her if she's ever heard of setting spray, but I just shrug instead. She won't shut up and says, "I never wear makeup. I just don't feel like I need it." I can see a foundation line on her jaw. glittery gold eyeshadow, mascara, even lip color, but what do I know? She must have those naturally. Once the table's ready, she starts talking again about her bazongas.
Wow.
This time, I was going to go braless in this dress, but the girls needed support. I told her it's probably for the best because I'd had a nip slip in the car, which for the record was my first and only ever nip slip. I told her it was crazy. I looked down and noticed my boob had flown out. Okay, maybe flown was a strong word, but I was grasping at straws to relate to this chick. Kaylee turned to me and said in the loudest voice possible, "Your flew out! I find that hard to believe."
Uh-huh.
The table went silent.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend froze. We all just looked at her. No one said a word. But you know what word I have to say? You can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile.
That's right. That's all it takes.
Probably live now.
One tap. You can fly over there.
You can fly right over. And there is a little bit left. After a very painful 20 to 30 seconds, I laughed to try to play it off, and slowly conversations resumed.
Wow.
My boyfriend was horrified, and we decided to leave the dinner early, but not before Kaylee called the bride out for wearing non-underwear under a light-colored dress, something none of us would have ever noticed. The bride looked really embarrassed. It was sad.
Oh, come on.
Fast forward to the next time I saw the group at the wedding. Kaylee took my phone from my purse and shared my location with her, then followed herself on Instagram from my profile. Now I'm curious. Has anyone met a pick-me girl that is one of the bazonga-obsessed variety? Is this a mental illness? Let me know. I will never go to a joint bachelor/bachelorette party again. My boyfriend ignored me on his birthday, so I returned the gifts I got for him. This is long, but you need the whole story. I've been dating a guy for around 6 years. Our birthdays are just a few weeks apart, and he just had his. On Monday before his birthday, my best friend called me and asked if I could take her and my goddaughter out on my boat one day that week before they moved my goddaughter into the dorms for college. By the way, this comes from Vandercat23 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So for numerous reasons, my friend and I haven't been able to see each other regularly for a few years. So when she called and asked, I jumped at the chance to spend some time together. We talked through schedules, and it turned out that Wednesday was our only option. Wednesday was also his birthday. Wait, you're trying to hang out with your friend on your boyfriend's birthday? One of the reasons I haven't seen as much of my friend is because they don't like my boyfriend. So if he's around, they don't want to be. Anyway, I asked my boss if I could take a few hours off of Wednesday afternoon. The plan was to spend those few hours with my friends and leave to celebrate him in the evening. I even told my friend about his birthday and that I'd have to be back around 5:30. Wednesday night is a typical date night anyway, since my son goes to his dad's on Wednesdays. I expected normal timing and me just celebrating him. So I got everything set up like it needs to be for making sure my son would get picked up from school and handed off to his dad later. I took care of stuff at work with meetings and emails and got PTO approved. I confirmed with my friend we were going on a boat day and I couldn't wait to see her. My boyfriend and I were texting later that morning, so I told him that I was taking a few hours off from work. I told him the whole thing of why it had to be that timing, but that I let them know that I only had a few hours since I would need to get back for birthday date night with him. Okay, so she did tell him. I also said that if he wanted to go out on the boat, that we could eat at the marina and take the boat out for a sunset cruise, which he loves doing, and we've done many times this summer. He got so angry with me that I would take time off work on that day and not spend that time off with him. It made him even more mad that I had said yes to the boat with them because he likes it too and he's not invited. He said only you could do some dumb crap like this. I didn't really understand why he reacted that way when I'm the only one who had even mentioned seeing each other on his birthday up to this point because, well, I mean, he wants, sometimes people don't want to have to plan all this stuff on their birthday. It's nice for like other people to be like, hey, I would love to spend time with you on your birthday.
100 again.
Yeah.
Like maybe you just wanted like a chill day with OP.
Because I disagreed that I had done anything wrong and stood my ground on that. I got called names, and then he decided that if he couldn't come to stay at my house the night before, spend the entire day Wednesday together at my house, even while I was at work, and celebrate him Wednesday night, then he didn't want to see me at all. This seems also like a bit of a
It seems like they're both
reaction.
being super petty.
Mind you, he had not mentioned us seeing each other for his birthday until this, and now he wants the entire day because he found out I was making plans for a few hours with someone who wasn't him. I told him that there was nothing wrong with what I did, and I didn't want to cancel plans. So he lectured me on being in a relationship and what that means for far too long. Wednesday morning, I spoke to my boyfriend again. I told him happy birthday and asked if he was sticking to not wanting to see me because I really wanted to celebrate with him. He told me I chose not to see him when I made other plans. Okay, whatever. It's his choice whether I agree with it or not. The day went on, and it was a really good day. He texted me around the time I would have been seeing him if we had met up like normal and said, I hope you enjoyed my birthday. I told him it was a good day and said I hope he has a good day too. He ghosted me for a few hours after that, then sent a picture of a sunset on the beach, which is 5 hours away. I said good for him that he got to go to the beach and asked who he was with. He didn't respond. I texted him the next morning and asked again who he was with, and he didn't answer. A few hours later, I asked him if he was treating me the same way he expects to be treated, and he finally responded that he didn't want to have a negative conversation and that he was with a guy friend we both know. I decided not to initiate any contact with him at this point. I know I'll talk to him again, but not right now. He has sent me a random video from a fishing trip while they were on the boat, some pics, and then a video of a drink at a bar, and a sign saying all you need is love and tacos. I either don't respond to them at all or heart them and move on. He keeps asking what I'm doing late at night. It's been while I was sleeping, so I don't respond. When he sent me a sleep well text last night, he sent kissy faces and a smiley emoji like everything is just okay. I have his messages muted because I don't want to be too available to him right now. I don't know if he's home yet or still at the beach.
This is frustrating.
Yeah, but you know what's not frustrating?
What?
You guys joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. So for his birthday, I bought him a few things he wanted/needed. It only totaled around $150, but I really want to send the gifts back.
Again, it's just what level of petty can we get to?
I've started the return process for everything. I just need to drop them off at the shipment store. So am I the a-hole if I send back his gifts? Yes. Or should I go
100%.
drop them off? When he comes back and expects that they're here, is it just petty and starting drama to not have anything for him? I mentioned my birthday at the beginning. It's a big birthday for me, and I already know he will do nothing. He's the guy who doesn't remember to buy his mom a card for Mother's Day unless I remind him he should. Then why are you dating him? Break up. While I know it doesn't have to be equal as far as gifts go, it's not like he can complain too much about not getting anything when he never gives gifts without being told to. And that is the end of that story.